From HousingWire HQ in Dallas, Texas, I'm Allison LaForgia, managing editor of HousingWire's content studio. And today I'm joined by Rhiannon Bolen, the Senior Vice President and National Sales Director at GridBase. Rhiannon, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks, Allison. Excited to be here. Appreciate it.
Let's get started with talking a little bit about your role at GridBase and what drives your passion for transforming title and lending workflows.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the question. So I'm SVP of Sales for GridBase. I've been in the industry for about 25 years. I'm a CMB. I've been very involved in the industry via, just work I've done with the Mortgage Bankers Association. I think I've been on the TMBA board, Texas Mortgage Bankers Association, since the day the earth cooled, I feel like sometimes. But I've always been very driven by helping my clients solve problems. And I'm genuinely interested in making workflows and interaction more collaborative and efficient. I don't know that I even realized truly how manual the process was still between lender and title. So for me, it's really exciting what GridBase is trying to do. I think we're trying to solve for a problem here in the industry. And so for me, that's kind of what drives my passion and why I came here. Plus, we just have very nice people that we work with. And it's really rewarding to be in a great culture that's really trying to help an industry challenge.
So let's dig into that industry challenge a little bit more.
Sure.
GridBase has been described as a unique middleware solution connecting two segments of that transaction process that you just mentioned. What makes it a truly unique piece of technology?
So I think for us, we're really the only solution of its kind that's truly agnostic to the operating system, the product, or the channel. And it connects both sides of the equation, both lender and title. Our company was founded in title, so that's kind of our background. And so from that aspect, we understand that side, and we know that in order to maximize the adoption between the two parties, we have to accommodate both sides. So we set out to build this technology that accommodates both workflows and in both systems. So we're kind of like an invisible connector between the two, but we built it in such a way that we can accommodate the specifications of each workflow.
That sounds very exciting. It sounds like you're catering to two very separate needs industry-wise, which is very unique. But whenever there's new technology, there's always some hesitancy around adopting that technology. What are some of the most significant or even standout gains that you've seen clients experience after implementation?
So it's gonna kind of sound very simplistic, but the first and I think most major area that the GridBase technology accommodates for is just completely getting out of email altogether. I was very surprised after coming here that this part of the manufacturing process of originating and closing loans is still largely handled in email. So that's like sending documents, manual rekeying, all of these parts that are done outside of a system of record. So even that little change to the workflow where we enable both parties, title and lender, to collaborate and communicate inside of their respective systems of record, even that alone is such a huge lift.
It really is. And what you just mentioned highlights something to me, or what comes top of mind is security.
Right.
And that is, I know, a critical concern in the financial technology sector. So could you tell us a little bit more about how GridBase helps mitigate risks like fraud?
Yeah, I mean, even just what I mentioned, even as simple as just getting completely out of email, I mean, conducting business in that way is inherently not secure. When you're sending information back and forth outside of a secure system, that's residing inside of the portal of how you conduct your workflows, you're automatically going to increase the likelihood or the risk of fraud. So for us, that's a really critical concern, not only just the workflow aspect of it and making that more efficient, but then also eliminating that higher risk of fraud or of breach, with to your point, so many concerns that we have in our industry today.
That sounds fantastic. I think everybody's looking for those opportunities in their tech stack to be more aware of security issues and mitigating any of those risks, right? Now, I want to go back a little bit. You mentioned being product, system, and even channel agnostic.
Right.
Can you elaborate on how GridBase's flexibility distinguishes it from other solutions?
Yeah, and for us, this is kind of where the rubber meets the road, right? Because we are a middleware, effectively. And because there are so many parts of the loan manufacturing process, and that can be from, a search on the MLS to the point of sale, to the LOS, and even on a servicing platform that interact in some way with title. GridBase is really unique because we can connect to any number of various systems of record that subsequently connect the lender to the title provider, but we also connect to the major title production systems, or the TPS. Lenders work on an LOS and title agents work on a TPS. So we connect to the other side of that. There are other solutions that only provide the title order, we'll say. So you can place the order, and that can happen from within the system. But the rest of the parts and the pieces around the workflow, like the documents and the data, the alerts, the statuses, the messages, those all then get moved to email, like we discussed. So what we do is we keep all of the parts of that inside of any platform used by the lender and the title provider on their system. And we connect those two so they can, you can kind of collaborate between the two systems without ever exiting it. That's what makes us unique.
I mean, it sounds like getting out of email would be something that would be pretty top of mind for most people who are looking to bring things into 2025
right.
and 2026.
Yes.
Speaking of that, technology continues to evolve. What vision does GridBase have for supporting and continuing to support digital transformation in the title and lending industries?
I feel like we have very consistent conversations internally and considerations around our roadmap and where our technology can go. We're already solving for the problem of keeping the workflows in a secure environment. But we've got areas of consideration around enabling lenders to validate whether the title is clear from the time of the intent to proceed that could reside in a point of sale. We see a future around digitizing, balancing CDs. That could effectively become a reality. And we also see a potential for fully streamlining the entirety, the end-to-end title workflow, from fee estimates to the title order to docs to e-signing. So we've got a lot, I think, of opportunity and things that we're discussing that are potentially going to end up on our roadmap that I see just to make this whole workflow more efficient and kind of digitize that whole process.
It sounds like there's a lot on the roadmap, and that GridBase has a pretty ambitious plan for continuing to support both title and lending. I have to ask you, what are you most excited about for the future?
Yeah, I think I alluded to it, when we first started talking about just me personally and my passion for, helping to solve, challenges or problems for my clients. And I think that is kind of the core of our company, is kind of the culture of our company, and the opportunity to help really, truly solve an industry challenge. That's very exciting for us. This workflow is well overdue for modernization, and it's in desperate need of becoming more secure, especially with, we talked about it a little bit with cybersecurity concerns that permeate our industry now. It's certainly, I would say, a bit of a paradigm shift for this part of the process because it's a little new what we're trying to introduce. But I think at GridBase, we truly have a passion for making this whole experience better for all the parties involved. So I think that's probably what is most exciting for us.
Well, I'm excited to see what comes next for GridBase. Rhiannon, thank you so much for taking me through how GridBase is transforming the title and lending industries.
Thank you. I appreciate it.